Have you noticed that wrestlers have been bleeding quite a lot lately? With WWE Creative explicitly booking a superstar, Randall Keith Orton, to be busted open during the main event of their second biggest pay-per-view of the year, there's a lot of buzz online that WWE may be pulling away from PG and towards a bloodier, edgier product, which will delight, lunatics. Thing is, for all the flack that PG got since its inception 8 years ago, there's actually been plenty of blood spilt in Vince Mackel's home of tackles, except it's always been from bleeding hard way. In wrestling terminology, bleeding hard way means that wrestlers bleed from a wound caused without a blade and for super duper trooper realsies. Admittedly, some wrestlers did blade in the PG era, Batista, Ric Flair, but not these maniacs. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 times wrestlers bled hard way in the PG era. Number 10, John Cena, bragging rights 2009. He's the face who runs the place, and sometimes that face bleeds blood redder than the stripes in Old Glory. God bless each and every one of us. This was one of the first instances of the most heel act a modern referee can commit, briefly stopping the fight to dab a wrestler's face. Gosh, fans hate medical treatment. At Bragging Rights 2009, during an Anything Goes Iron match, emphasis on the anything goes, Cena began to bleed after Orton thumped him on the head with a microphone. The clock was briefly stopped as ringside medical staff tried to tend to Cena, but likely confused by what was happening, and as incidents like this had not happened much before, he ignored them and mounted a comeback, as is hardwired into his superhuman babyface DNA, which he was shedding at a fairly rapid rate. Number 9, Christian, TLC 2009. Why did WWE's parody account of ECW fail? Well, little things like the ref briefly stopping an ECW title match due to blood flow. At TLC 2009, when Shelton Benjamin pulled Christian's legs, forcing a ladder he was holding to bonk him in the head, blood started to go places. When medics briefly stopped the match, the ECW title match, somewhere in the world, Terry Funk, the Sandman, Sabu, and Taz all felt their souls shrink just a little bit. And that's when we all knew that ECW was truly dead. Number 8, Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus's head. Turns out the Irish have really hard heads. They may have just overtaken the Samoans in the whole slightly racist famous for headbutt shtick. In 2015, Sheamus's head hardway busted open 2 separate men. An errant headbutt to the forehead not only gave Mr. Dolphin Ziggler a Crimson Master in their match at Payback 2015, but 1 month prior, Daniel Bryan was left concussed and bloody after meeting minds with Sheamus on an episode of SmackDown in April. In fact, after this match, Bryan would only wrestle 2 more televised matches. So, thanks, Sheamus. Number 7, Randy Orton, Money in the Bank 2014. This is the 3rd match on the list to involve ladders. It won't be the last. Turns out ladders are dicks. During the Money in the Bank match at the 2014 pay-per-view of the same name, Orton took a ladder shot to the top of his head to accompany all the voices he keeps in there. It took a while for the blood to make an appearance, but after a few well-placed shots from Roman Reigns, by the end of the match the blood was dripping down the Viper's face and splattered across his back. However, as the match was reaching its dramatic climax and Orton was heavily involved in that finish, there was no option but to let the blood flow for the unsettling delight of everyone watching at home. Number 6, Samoa Joe, TakeOver Dallas. Let Joe bleed, they chanted in Dallas. Let Joe bleed. Seeing literally the first minute of their main event match at TakeOver Dallas, Samoan Joseph busted himself open badly above the eye when he headbutted Finn Balor. They had to stop the match to close the cut numerous times, with the impatient crowd booing louder and louder with each attempt. How could you? They screamed at the medical professionals, wiping the literal blood out of Samoa Joe's eyes. How dare you ruin everything with your goddamn legally required care? Number 5, John Cena, the Lesnar feud 2012. Shocking as it wasn't exactly surprising to see blood spilt at SummerSlam. Lesnar has been bringing out the red in his opponents for a while now, as far back as 2012 when he returned to the company after years in MMA. WWE was desperate to incorporate a sense of mixed martial arts legitimacy in Lesnar's comeback run, and John Cena's head was offered up as the sacrificial lamb. Hey Brock, do us a favor and hit John until he's a tomato. Cheers, babes. Not only did Lesnar punch Cena repeatedly in the mouth on Raw, wrecking his American grin, but at Extreme Rules 2012, the best one, Lesnar opened Cena up with a devastating elbow to the top of the head. Like Randy. Watching Cena bleed profusely was damn shocking, and despite the loss, it was a hell of a return for the Beast incarnate. Number 4, CM Punk, Money in the Bank 2013. Oh hey there ladders, you've come to ruin some more wrestlers' days. At Money in the Bank, CM Punk was about to embark on a many-month feud with Paul Heyman that may have ended with all the enthusiasm of a sloth dying from blood loss in a bag, but it started with a bang. Literally, with Paul Heyman delivering a skull-shattering ladder shot to the straight-edge superstar CM Bonds. The final thwack of the ladder split Punk's head open, leaving him in a mess of blood and requiring 13 staples after the fact. Ladders, nature's biggest dickheads. Number 3, Undertaker, Hell in a Cell 2015. This one really freaked Vince out. Who Ooh, Doctor! So some people were a little bit worried when 50-year-old The Undertaker was put in a Hell in a Cell match with the human equivalent of the Great Fire of London. Don't worry, those fears were proven unfounded though when of course they weren't. Brock Lesnar broke Undertaker open with a series of stiff punches. When Kevin Dunn saw not just Taker but Lesnar bleeding as well, he screamed for a doctor to hit the ring, and apparently Vince was apoplectic backstage. Did Taker and Lesnar go into business for themselves, or was Vince's highly publicized backstage meltdown just a smokescreen meant to cover WWE's liability? After all, it's not like WWE haven't sanctioned hardware blood since. Speaking of, number 2, Randy Orton SummerSlam 2016. At Money in the Bank 2014, it took 12 staples to fix Randy's head. At SummerSlam 2016, it only took 10. Much nicer, right? Wrong! Oh my god, wrong! Look at him, he's being killed by a polar bear! Brock Lesnar, who is the exact opposite of a Harambe, became friends with Randall's head like a hammer becomes friends with a nail. Upon instructions from head office, Brock took his elbow to Orton, and soon blood was pouring from the head of the Apex Predator, pooling in a murky puddle on the mat. Ugh. And number 1, Brock Lesnar so many times, because you tell Brock Lesnar not to bang his own head open. Not only has Brock been dealing out hardway blood jobs to the likes of CENA, Orton and Taker, Brock Lesnar seems to have a bizarre love affair with his own blood as well. They're the best of friends and they can't bear being apart for even a second. Brock's hardway bled on Raw before WrestleMania 29, bouncing off the rim post, leaving his face grapevined with blood. Head met post again at WrestleMania 31 and Lesnar's match with Roman Reigns. Many thought he bladed during that match, but that is a coward's way. After all you have to do is headbutt a ring post as hard as you can, like a man would. Finally, as previously discussed, he bled in the Hell in a Cell match with Taker in 2015, and then, when the doctor tried to treat him, he literally threw that doctor across the ring, because masculine. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter here. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.